All right, all right, all right. It is Tuesday. Man, I almost said Thursday. Can you believe it? Because I've been saying the same thing for 18 months, but we have switched over to Tuesday. We're going to call this a beta test, right? We're going to call this a beta test on Tuesday to see how we like having the Real Money Coach Facebook Live on Tuesday versus having it on Thursday. We're looking for all of you guys to give us your input. I'm really pumped up right now because I see Kimberly McGowan is in the house. Kimberly is here, one of our great team members, and also a member of Mount Carmel Baptist Church with me. So thank you, Kimberly, for being here. And then I see Constance Marie Barnes, a new member of our team, or in that process from the great state of New York. I was going to say New York City, but I don't think it's New York City. It might be Brooklyn or one of the boroughs. Tell us which one you're from. Constance, Connie Marie, tell us which one. Alice Martin is here. Thank you, Alice, another faithful member at Mount Carmel Baptist Church. Listen, and Alice has been with us from day one. All right, so Connie said she's from Queens. C. Marie, maybe that's what she want me to call her. C. Marie is from Queens. Alice Martin here from the Queen City. So we're so glad that you're here. Tell us where you are watching from, where you are listening from, as the Real Money Coach is coming to you now on Thursday, at least for this month of December. We're going to see how it flows.
On Tuesday.
And you guys just have to let us know. Let's see our Miss Motivational Donna James she's in Louisiana. I know she is she's from Norfolk, Virginia, right? But she's right now somewhere in Louisiana. So love it. So thank you for being here as well, Donna and Alice and everyone. Listen, we are excited about this time. I know we're all coming off of a great Thanksgiving, at least for me, just getting some time with family. It was a little bittersweet weekend for me, actually, because one of my dear aunts passed over the weekend in Chicago, Illinois, and so, but she lived a great long life, 95 years old. NLD lived to be, and so, and last week. I didn't even think about this, but last week we had Tommy Williams, my roommate from college, was on, and it didn't. I think my wife mentioned it to me afterwards. Is that we had both Michelle Mitchell, who's our co-host, who'll be on with us here in just a second, was on with us, and Tommy was with us. And not only was he my college roommate and Michelle Lisa's college roommate, but they both also were in our wedding. And so we're like, wow, she brought that up afterwards. I didn't even think about that. So great times, great people. Good to have you all with us. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and bring the co-host of the Mostest, Mrs. Michelle Mitchell, on screen with us.
Good evening, Tony.
Yeah, hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Your camera looks really vibrant on Tuesday. I don't know.
Because it's been working overtime today.
It's been working overtime today.
Yes,
so Tuesday's your busy day. Tell us a little bit about what your day was like.
Oh, man. Today was a very, very busy day. I got to talk to clients. I got to talk to potential clients. I got to talk to people who've known me from my past, and they're like, "Hey, Michelle, we would like for you to do X, Y, and Z." I'm like, "What?" Okay,
yeah, that's great.
So it's a lot of stuff, And then being the CEO, like I got CEO stuff to do, like yeah. So busy day.
And what I've done is on my schedule, Michelle, and you might like this, is I've blocked out Tuesday. I don't do, or not Tuesdays, but Mondays. I'm not doing appointments anymore on Mondays.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do Mondays. I'm gonna be like the hairdressers and the pastors. I was working, but no appointments. And
Right. Yeah.
Part of it is I like recording my show the radio show is due, the recording and everything is due 5 o'clock on Monday.
Oh,
And
okay.
so what I had been doing was recording it on Sunday evening and then turn it in Monday. But I said, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to record it on Monday. And so I'm not doing any appointments on Monday. So y'all got to make sure y'all watch or listen to the radio show on Tuesday. This Friday at 5 p.m.
Yes.
This Friday, you guys, we're going to be showing an interview or playing an interview that we had with Dr. Boyce Watkins. And it's probably going to be a 2-part because I did it on for this Friday coming up. And I was like, man, there's so much more to play. So we'll probably do that another week. So make sure you tune into iHeartRadio, WDRB Media on Friday at 5 p.m. So that's what's going on. So that's my new Monday.
Your new Monday.
My new Monday. So that's my new Monday. And the only thing I will do is, meet with some of my team members and stuff like that if they need some coaching. But as far as, those hour-long appointments with clients, we're going to be doing those on Tuesday through Friday. So
okay.
Yeah.
That's better.
That's better.
That's better.
So,
we can get better than that, but that's you can get better than that, but that's
it's gonna get better than that.
Yeah.
Because we got some amazing things coming up, and some of the folks who are on here as part of my team, I've announced some changes in our organization, how we're going to do some things, and it's pretty exciting.
Nice.
So Michelle, what I'd love to do is for you to share with people who are watching, listening, even seeing this replay, exactly Mitchell's consulting services. Tell us what that involves, what you do, and share with us.
Sure. Well, Mitchell Consulting is here to serve entrepreneurs, primarily women entrepreneurs, because I just have a passion for women entrepreneurs and all the things that we have to juggle as an entrepreneur. So we're here to do that. And our motto is bridging the gap between your passion and your profit. And a lot of times women start businesses, or women and men start businesses because of their passion. They're passionate about a certain area, they have an expertise in that area, and they start a business. But once you get into it, you really don't realize all the different layers that you need to go through in order to optimize that business for profit. So Mitchell Consulting provides financial services in the area of bookkeeping and accounting so that you can utilize your financials to help you make decisions. And as a CEO, especially when you're a solopreneur, you don't have a board that you can get advice from or ask a question to. It's really lonely when you're an entrepreneur, unless you have a mentor or a coach or a group of people that you can be around to help you make these decisions. So Mitchell Consulting provides those services, and it's so funny to me. Like, we are accounting, like that is what we do. But when I meet with the CEOs, sometimes we don't even talk about the numbers because it's about the business and the progression that people are making, and the the areas where they can get caught up, and a lot of that has to do with what goes on between your ears. It's your belief system, it's your mindset, it's, who am I to be charging, what I charge, or who am I to ask people for money? That's a big one, especially in the beginning. But also, as you get your footing in business, you have different levels. So if you know anything about business, you can't do it alone, or you shouldn't do it alone. And when you start adding those team members, there's another layer. One, there's a financial component to it, because am I making enough money to actually pay this person on a regular basis? And two, there's other things that come up that you didn't even think about just because you hired a person. So one of the things that I'm dealing with right now, because I just hired a new person, and she lives in Washington State, and she needs a computer. Like, how am I supposed to do that? Like, everybody I've been working with has been local. So what do you do when you have a distributed workforce or a virtual workforce that's helping you build your empire? There's things that come into play. Like, then, the tax issue. Like, how do I withhold taxes on a person that lives in Washington State, but she works for my company that's in Michigan? What do we do? I had a business owner call today, and he wanted me to train an employee in his business on how to write checks in QuickBooks. Like, so I always go the next level and ask a deeper question. So I asked him the question. I said, okay, we can definitely train that person, but what is their role in the business? And he said, well, my goal for her is to be the COO. And I'm like, well, then why should a COO be writing checks? Like, that doesn't make sense to me if that's the path you have her on. Yes, she needs to understand how the accounting function works within your business if she's going to be over operations, but she shouldn't be the one writing the check. So I'm like, that's what you hired us for, right? If you need a backup. So those are some of the conversations I have, with clients. And so it's deeper than just the money piece. It's deeper than just, bookkeeping and getting P&Ls and doing that. I want to help you plan your future, your financial future. Like, you started this thing for a reason, and you want to have a financial gain out of it. So let's do that. But most accountants don't take that approach.
Well, and it's not a hobby. We don't start a
Yeah,
business because it's a hobby. And maybe our hobby morphs into a business,
right. It
or
does.
something that we're passionate about,
Mhm,
that we like, that then morphs into a business.
mhm,
But then it gets to a point where we have to
mhm,
step aside and say, okay, I'm the CEO. I
mhm,
need to hire people. I need to have things in place
mhm.
that will allow me to do what I do best, and
Yes.
what I should be doing in terms of
Yep.
vision and direction and
Yep.
mission. And I know for me, my what I love to do and what I do best is being in front of the client.
Absolutely.
You know, and so the other things that take place behind the scenes,
Mhm.
if we can outsource those in some
Yes.
way, hire someone to do those
Mhm.
things, then that makes us just that much better in terms of our
Right.
whole business enterprise. And
Yeah.
welcome to Dr. Benita
Oh,
Harris is
Dr.
joining. She's
Benita.
like, wait a minute, what are y'all doing in on Tuesday? I'm not used to this. So, and matter of fact, a lot of our listeners too have Bible studies and stuff on Tuesday, and so they may end at 8 o'clock, and then they
You're
join us.
right.
So we're just happy to have everyone here and be a part of this, and just talking. I guess what we're talking about tonight is just being in that role of a CEO,
Yes.
and being in that role of leading your business. Because sometimes what happens is we spend so much time working in our
And
business
mhm.
that
We
we
don't
don't
work
work
on.
on the business
Yeah. Yeah.
on the business and casting that vision and,
Right.
and those type of things. So
Yeah. A lot of times I find business owners also get stuck in, um, you have a zone of excellence and a zone of genius.
mm,
So when you identify what your zone of genius is, it's the thing that connects with your clients, that actually brings money into your business. If you're not sitting in the zone of genius as the CEO, and you're always in the zone of excellence, where this may mean I can write email campaigns, I can edit my videos because I'm good at it. I don't make money at it, but I'm good at it. So if it takes up too much of my time in that zone of excellence, I never can stay long enough in the zone of genius, which is what people are coming to you for as a business owner. They
Mm.
want your genius. They don't want your excellence. They want your genius because that's going to move the needle for them.
Got it. Now that makes a lot of sense, Michelle, because
Mhm,
in terms of, you don't go to the best attorney
mhm.
in town
Yep,
and expect them to be, working on filing your paperwork. You know what I mean?
exactly.
The same
Yes.
thing with a doctor. You don't go to a
Mhm,
heart surgeon and expecting him or her to
mhm.
be sweeping the floor. You
Exactly.
expect them to be doing the things, the reason you're there,
Yep.
because they are a subject matter. And I like your
Expert.
expert, but I like your word genius, right?
Genius.
A
Yeah.
subject matter genius.
Mhm.
And when they can when everybody operates in their own gift, right? Their
Yes.
own genius that
Yeah.
God created. So God created each of us
Mhm.
to have our own genius.
Mhm.
We're fearfully and wonderfully made, right?
Yeah.
And so there's not another Michelle Mitchell, there's not another Tony Jackson,
Mhm.
Alice Martin, Connie, Bonita,
Mhm.
Ruth, any of the people who are there,
Yeah.
Kimberly and so forth. There's not another one of you on earth.
Right.
And God has made you uniquely for a task,
Yes.
for assignment.
Mhm.
And here's the other thing that I think is when we're operating at that optimal level,
Mhm.
is it's not we're not the benefactors of that,
Right. We're
but
not.
there's
We
others
don't even realize it sometime what
who
that
don't know
zone
it.
of genius is.
Right.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
other people will look at what you
Yes.
do
Mhm.
and say, I don't know how you do it. I
Right.
don't know how you're that smart. I don't know how you're that
Yep.
intelligent. But
Mhm.
it's that when you're operating within that gift,
Mhm.
I think that's when that happens. And I really feel like this, that when we're operating in those gifts, that we are also not, it doesn't drain us. It doesn't
Right.
drain our energy.
Yes.
It doesn't stress us.
Mhm.
It just flows.
It just flows.
And
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with money, because I think that there's people who are excellent. I mean, I think about my wife, I think about Adri, who
Mhm.
are excellent teachers. I
Mhm.
mean, excellent teachers,
Mhm.
and I think that's, when you're operating within your gift, then that is energizing. And
Yes.
I see them and particularly, talking about, at least I see how much she cares for these kids, and how,
Yeah.
she talks about they come and they hug her, they run her
Mhm.
over in the hallway, and all those type of things. So I think those, when you're operating in your genius and you're making an impact on the world.
Right. Yeah, but also when you don't operate in your genius and you spend too much time in that zone of excellence, you're not allowing someone else to operate in their genius.
Mm, because
Because
you're really doing it.
you
Yeah.
trying to do it all. Yeah.
That's good. One of the things that George always talks about, George Fraser, he always says, don't chase money, chase
Mhm.
excellence, and money will chase you.
Mhm.
And I like this conversation that we're having, because we're saying, wait a minute, you can't stop at chasing excellence.
Right.
So once you have chased excellence, now we have to move to the next level, which
Right.
is genius.
And this is your genius.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that. Love
Yeah.
that. And then that makes room for
It makes
others to
room for
operate
others.
in their
Yeah.
genius.
In their genius.
Right.
Right.
So I love that. That's a great concept.
Yeah.
And so if I'm sitting here tonight, and there's several different type of people that are here, right? So we have people who are entrepreneurs, inspiring entrepreneurs. We have people who are retired. We have
Mhm.
people who are working. Um, I think I'm thinking about this, how it can also be adapted into your personal life.
Oh, absolutely. Mhm.
So, how are you running your personal life?
Yes.
So tell us how you can see it adapt to someone's personal life that may not necessarily be a business owner. But
Yeah.
I think in me, I believe that we're all business owners.
Yes.
And the business that you own, the business
Is
that you're the CEO of is your life.
exactly.
Is
Yes.
your life, right?
Is your life.
Yeah.
Yes. So what I see in people's personal lives is that they operate so much in their zone of excellence because they go to work at a job that they don't have passion for.
Mm,
So they sit in excellent, they do a good job at work, that's why they still have a job, right? They're helping
okay.
somebody else, but they may have this other thing that's in their life, but they just don't quite get enough time to enjoy it,
Mm, mm-hmm.
you know and because they sit in that zone of excellence and they don't work on personal development, like personally, like
Personal.
how am I growing personally? They're just in the hustle and the bustle of the day. But when you stop and take a pause at what your vision is for your life, so your zone of genius as a person could be just the time you spend with your family. That could be it, because you give love. You give love and you make certain little things for people, and they, oh, I just love when you do that. And you make little dishes or you fix on people's cars, but that's not your thing. That's not what you do. But that's where your passion is, because that's how you showing love to everybody else. It's not a monetary thing. So when do you develop personally, so you can step out of always being in that zone of excellence and be in that zone of genius, because it brings you more joy in your life.
Well, and that's where you have the greatest impact.
And
Um,
that's where you have the greatest
and
impact.
I don't know. As you were saying that, I don't know. I was thinking about your dad. I was thinking
Mm,
about your dad
mhm.
and Mr. Clement, y'all. He's the sweetest, kindest man
Mhm.
that you could ever meet, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things about him that I could see is I think Mr. Clement is one of those giving type
Mhm.
of people. Like
Yeah.
if I were halfway to Michigan and my car broke down, I could call Mr. Clement and he would probably get in his car
Yep,
and
and come
come
get you.
and help me get that car towed to wherever it needed to be
Yep.
or whatever. And I can remember one time when he was actually driving the bus for the church
Mhm.
for Pilgrim Rest.
Mhm.
And I remember they were coming to Jackson
Mhm.
for a service and the bus broke down and I just remember how caring he was about getting that bus back running so that
Mhm.
the church could come and do what they were doing and all that type of thing. And when you were talking about like fixing someone's car, I don't know,
Mhm.
I just kind of my mind kind of went to him
Yeah.
because I think that's the kind of person and that's what he enjoyed
Yep.
doing.
Mhm.
He enjoyed driving those buses,
He
right?
enjoyed it
It like
very, very much. Yeah.
very much. And
Mhm.
so, and for him, it probably didn't seem like work. I mean,
Right.
I imagine that your brothers
Yep.
and sisters, like,
Mhm.
Daddy, you need to stop working. You need to stop driving that bus. And he like, why?
Why?
Like, that's what
I can
I
still do
enjoy.
it.
That's yeah, I can still do it. So that's what he
Yeah.
enjoys.
Yeah.
And so I think when I think about retirement, and a lot of
Mhm.
people are approaching retirement or thinking about retirement, what am I going to do in my retirement years?
Yeah.
Think about those things that you've always wanted to do, but you just didn't have time to do it
Yep.
because you were working your 9 to 5. You were
Mhm.
making sure that that the kids were fed, the
Mhm.
house note was made,
Right.
the light stayed on,
Mhm.
and we spend all this time really working on those things
Mhm.
and we don't get a chance to really pursue our passions.
Yes.
And so that's what I think when you think about retirement, think about pursuing your passions.
Yeah.
And it's not always about the numbers.
No.
And sometimes we even have to tell people, like, listen, you need to enjoy some of this that you've
Yeah,
been
that you've worked for.
that you've
Yeah.
worked for, that
Mhm.
you've worked for.
Mhm.
And but I understand it, especially, our baby boomer generation,
Mhm.
because they've seen a lot.
Yeah.
They've been through a lot.
Mhm.
I mean, they've been through civil rights, they've been
Mhm.
through Jim Crow, they've
Yeah.
been through so much, and
So much.
they've had to save, and they've lived through a lot of the things that we look at as history.
Mhm.
It wasn't that long ago.
No.
It wasn't that long ago, right?
No. Right.
And so sometimes, that has, over the years, is developed. Well, I can't do these things because I got to save for this and I got to save for
Mhm.
that. And I think that's really admirable, and really a lot of our generation and younger need to have those same type of habits to be
Oh,
relevant.
yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so, but be thinking about what your passion is, and
Yeah.
then following that passion. And, Les Brown says, what would you do for free?
Exactly.
What would you do for
Yeah.
free? I think Dr. Dennis Kimbrough was on, and he said, if you find your passion, I
Mhm.
remember saying, if you find your passion and you work in that passion, you'll never work another day of your life,
Right.
because it won't
'Cause
feel like
it don't
work.
feel like work.
It don't feel like work.
It don't feel
So,
like work.
and what I've noticed, Michelle, is this, just speaking on this topic of retirement, I've noticed that the only people that really I hear talk a lot about, I can't wait to retire, I can't wait to retire, are normally people who don't enjoy their job. You
Right.
know,
Mhm.
maybe I think, they might be working in a factory, they might be doing
Mhm.
something, and it's not enjoyable,
Mhm.
but it's the way they make a living.
Right.
Well, people who enjoy what they're doing,
Mhm.
um, and then I can think of some people who are, mid 70s, 80s,
Mhm.
Dr. George Frazier, Michael
Yeah.
V. Roberts, Bill Bacard in his 80s, and they enjoy what they do,
Yeah.
and they can financially, they can retire.
Mhm.
Financially, it wouldn't be a problem for them, but because they enjoy what they do, they keep doing it.
Right. Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
that's their passion.
It is. It's their passion, and when you get to that age, you can pick and choose when you work, like,
Right.
just like you said, Mondays, I'm not taking appointments on Mondays. Great. It's gonna be like, I only take appointments on Mondays, and I have Tuesday through Sunday
So
off.
it evolves to all of that, right?
It
So
evolves, right.
and so but for me too, enjoying what I do, enjoying being with people and helping people, but then it's
Mhm.
just a way to kind of spread that,
Yeah.
so that we can duplicate ourselves
Mhm.
and have systems in place where we can really take care of people. And that's really what we want to get to,
Yeah.
is having systems. Kiyosaki says, you got your four quadrants. The
Mhm.
first one is the E for employee, right? So
Mhm.
you're an employee,
Yeah.
and then you drop down and you have the B or the S for self-employed.
Yep.
So one, the job owns you, the other one, you own the job.
Right.
And then you have the business system, and then you ultimately have investor.
Yeah.
And when we look at like, is it Bill Gates? I think Bill
Mhm.
Gates is not doing anything with Microsoft anymore,
Right. Mhm.
but he's simply um, in charge of the nonprofit. And
Right.
so he's not, writing programs or
No.
doing any of those things anymore. So
Yeah, because it becomes like, when you're on this path of entrepreneurship, there's a progression that happens. And the more you can remove yourself from the business and you become the shareholder of the business, and the business
mhm,
operates by itself, that's where you get to the point of what's next. Because now I'm investing in other people and other things,
right.
you know. I mean, that's the path I'm on. I'm investing in my people so I can build them up and just show them the way, even as an employee, but they've bought into the mission, and they want to do a good job. So you kind of move yourself out of that daily operations to the point where you're the shareholder, you get
Right.
the profit share, so that's when your business begins to benefit you as the owner of it, right? Because
Right.
now you can personally invest in other things. You can invest in other organizations. You can have passion projects. You can help people more. Whatever you want to do. But we can't get stuck in business owner solo, because
Solopreneur.
you
Yep.
actually have a lot of bosses, and you can't manage your life. But when we start, that's what we think. We think we're gonna do it for the freedom, because I'm not gonna work for the man anymore. But now you got many men and women that you
Right.
work for. Yeah.
Well,
So
and
until
I
you
think,
put those systems in place, you cannot get there.
and you said something that's very important, and that's to invest in people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think if we invest in building people, the
Mm-hmm.
business will build itself.
Yep.
The business will
Absolutely.
build itself. And I think we've seen that in churches. We've seen a
Mm-hmm.
lot of great models of that
Mm-hmm.
in terms of it. When you invest in people,
Mm-hmm.
then everything else. Well, Zig Ziglar
Mm-hmm.
says, if you help enough people get
You
what they
get what they
want, in
want.
turn,
Mhm.
you get what you want.
Right. I
And
mean, and you
so,
can say the same thing for your family. You're investing in your children so that when they become adult age, they can invest in you. Like, you
say
invest
that
in
again.
them.
Wait a minute. Let me turn the recorder on. Let me turn the recorder on. Hey, if anybody got an amen on that, put it in the chat box. Invest in your children, and one
Right.
day they'll invest in you. Right?
That's
They
right.
won't. They won't roll you out and put you by the sidewalk.
Right. They won't sit you
Yeah,
in a corner or somewhere. Right.
yeah. We don't want to be in the corner, right?
Right.
So,
But that investment happens
mhm.
as a parent, or even like you as an adult child. Now you're investing back into your parents,
Mhm.
so this same concept can happen personally, and if you're an entrepreneur, the
Yeah.
same thing happens.
Well, and here's the thing too. As you were saying that, I was thinking about the investment that not only we make in our children, but we were talking about like freedom and being able to do things.
Mhm.
And I think when you're raising your kids, and a lot of you are parents know that when
Mhm.
you're raising your kids, you're so concerned about, you got to make sure they got their spelling list
Mhm.
right, and you got all this. When and fortunately for many of us, when the grandkids come along, we just invest ourselves in them. Like I,
Yes.
like Cameron, I'm not trying to teach Cameron
Right.
anything. I,
No.
I'm not. I'm really not. I'm not trying to teach him anything other than some life lessons. Like, this is
Right.
how you love. This is
Mhm.
how you care. This is affection. I can invest myself to him because I don't have to worry about the day to day stuff.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't have to worry about that because
Yeah.
he's got a mommy and daddy that does that, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
can just invest in him, just pure
Just pure, just
just pure
because.
out of my heart,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So, and I think that's what's wonderful about grandkids is
Mhm.
that you can do that. Where when you have your kids, you don't you're on the grind,
Yeah,
right?
you're on the grind.
You're on the grind for
I
many
mean,
things,
that's the same as a new entrepreneur. You're on the grind, you're in the hustle,
right?
but there's a way out of the hustle. And as the children get older, there's a way out of the hustle of it,
Right.
you know? But you've put that investment in. You have to put the investment in.
And what's your vision
Yes.
for your life?
Mhm.
And sometimes I think what happens is as we're parenting for, supposed to be 18 years, but it turns
22,
out, but
24.
yeah, okay. So as we're parenting, we lose vision for our life. What do
Yes.
you want your life to be?
Mhm.
And I think one of the things that Lisa and I talked about when we did a thing about date night,
Mhm.
dating your money, is what is the vision you have for your retirement together? What
Right.
does that look like?
Mhm.
you know, and getting back to having that vision of what you want your life to look like. Now that them other folks, they grown, you've done what you could do,
Mhm.
right? You've planted
Yeah.
the seed that you
You've
could plant.
imparted. Yeah.
You've departed your knowledge into
Mhm.
them. They've seen you do things very right. They've seen you
Mhm.
do things wrong. Hopefully, they've learned from both of those things.
Mhm.
But now it's time to focus on you
Yes.
and what your health and what you
Yeah.
want to accomplish in life. And it's
Right.
a beautiful thing.
It is a
It's a
beautiful
beautiful
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
I think if you can be at a point in your life where you worked, you maybe now are retired, maybe you have a side business, maybe you have a side hustle that you do when you want. I mean,
Mhm.
if you don't want to, you don't want to. I
Right.
mean,
Mhm.
you like, you know, you don't have to do it,
Right.
but just enjoy the peace
Mhm.
that surpasses all understanding,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
living in that place where you have peace in your life, peace with your God, peace with who you are, where
Mhm.
you are in life, and
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yep.
And I hope that many of you have had that experience, even this weekend, just with Thanksgiving, just
Mhm.
unplugging and just having peace and joy within yourself.
Yeah.
So I think it could be just a beautiful
It
um,
is.
symphony of harmony and all that good stuff.
It
So,
really.
Joe, we got a couple things coming up that I will announce. I will actually on next Monday at 11 a.m. and we'll get this posted on Facebook. I will actually be with the Dudley brand,
Oh,
Mr.
nice.
Dudley. So
Mhm.
we'll be doing a little workshop for them at 11 a.m. Talking about financial checkup. Reason why we need to have an annual financial checkup.
Mhm.
And then on December 11th, I'll be in Greenville, South Carolina for a program called Flex Your City. And so it's a tour that's going around where people are um, taking pride in their city. They're bringing
Mhm.
different people together. I think this one has maybe 4 or 5 pastors that are going to be coming together, and then there's going to be different speakers talking about different topics. And so that's actually on December 11th. So that's in Greenville, South Carolina. And then on December 22nd, I'm officiating a wedding
That's
uh,
right.
in Kalamazoo, Michigan, all right, for my godson, Mr. Antonio Mitchell II, and his
Yes.
lovely fiance, Emily. So I'll be with Michelle and Tony and their family and our family. It ain't y'all, their family, it's our family. So we'll all be
Right. Yeah.
together for
We're all
that.
family.
So that's a couple exciting things coming up, and just kind of looking forward to ending the year with a bang, and so pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You got anything coming up? You kind of sliding into the end of the year?
Well, I'm kind of sliding into the end of the year. The last month of the year for businesses, like for my business,
Mm-hmm.
we're preparing everyone for their year end. So,
Sure.
so we're doing prep work this month so that we can have a peaceful and calm January.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and I always say this: you prepare for January in December,
Oh,
or even before.
we
You know,
actually started in November,
yep.
but yeah.
And
Mhm.
so as we're thinking about your plans for next year, I mean, I'm
Mhm.
talking about not the New Year's resolution stuff,
No.
but I'm talking about having some good smart goals for
Mhm.
2022.
Mhm.
So I challenge people to think about what you want to happen in 2022. What do you want
Mhm.
your physically,
Mhm.
your physical health and your mental health?
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
are you going to do in those areas? I
Mm-hmm.
think another area is spiritually.
Yeah.
You know, how are you going to, what's your spiritual goals for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, you know, greater, you know, faith, or how are you going to attend church more? You're going to pray more, you're going to tithe more, you know,
Right.
what's your goal spiritually?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think there's also, I said mentally, but I think also emotionally, you know,
Yeah.
emotionally,
Mentally, emotional.
where do you want to be emotionally?
Mm-hmm.
And what does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about physical, emotional, mental, I mean, maybe your goal for 2022 is that you're going to get a massage once a month.
Right.
Maybe there's that day that you take away for yourself. And so those type of things. And then obviously, you know, financially,
Mm-hmm.
what are you going to be your financial goals in
Mm-hmm.
terms of your savings, your budgeting, those type of things, or if you're going to start another business, or if you're going to turn that passion that you have into profit,
Mm-hmm.
and those type of things. So be thinking about those goals. And I want to remind people about the SMART goals. Remember, SMART goals, when you're looking at your goals for 2022, is you want to be specific. So you want to be, you don't want it to be vague, like, you know, for example, I'm going to go to church more. Well, what does
Right.
go
What
to
does
church
that
more
mean?
mean, right?
What does that mean?
Does that
Right.
mean, you know, you're going to be on time for
You're
the
gonna
sermon?
go once?
You
That
want,
could be
so
more.
be specific about what those goals are. And then, and that brings us also to measurable. It
Mm-hmm.
has to be measurable. So you can't just say, I'm going to be a better person next year. Well,
Yeah.
okay, how do you measure that?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna cuss nobody out. Okay, maybe that's it. You know, maybe I'm gonna start cussing people out, you know, every day, and I'm gonna just go to once a week or something.
Right.
You know, but it has to be measurable. And then another one, Michelle, that I think we need to talk about is making those goals attainable.
Yes.
And because sometimes I talk to people and they have these great goals,
Mm-hmm.
but they're too lofty,
Yeah.
right? They're
Yeah.
not achievable.
Right.
And so you have to have goals that are achievable. And when I talk to people, I usually use this when they're saying, well, how much should I be putting away? And I was like, well, you know, that depends on your budget and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to stretch yourself, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to strain yourself. And I
Right.
think when we talk about attainable goals, is you want it to be a stretch,
Mm-hmm.
but you want it to be something that's reachable.
Yeah. Because
Because
you need to feel accomplished as well. That's why you do attainable.
right. And that's why I like the snowball method, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because with the snowball method, you have these wins.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about debt reduction, right? Snowball,
Right.
take the smallest bill, pay that first, and then move up to the next one,
Mm-hmm.
because you have these small wins along the way.
Right.
So it's got to be attainable. And then the R. So the R is
Relevant.
relevant. Relevant. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So the goals
It's
have
got to
to
be
be
relevant to like what you want in your life. Like,
right. So I used to say this all the time when I preach. Is like, you know, some of us, you know, we say that we want one thing, but
mhm.
our actions
Actions
don't
are.
do it, right? So our actions don't line up with our anointing,
Mm-hmm.
and when your actions don't line up with your anointing, then it just doesn't work.
Right.
And the same thing is, if you have goals that's not relevant to your life and where you want to go,
Mm-hmm.
they're simply not going to work.
Right.
And so, so you got to make sure that they're relevant. And
Mm-hmm.
then the T is for, it's got to be
Timing.
time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to
Yep.
be, it's got to be a time. You got to be able to put a date on it, a date
Yeah.
stamp on it, and say, by this day, this is what I'm going to do. By this
Yeah.
date, and I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's losing weight. I don't care if it's exercising. This SMART goals work,
They
right?
did.
Because my wife says it all the time, is that you will never lose weight if you don't track what you're doing. That's the
Right.
measurement, right?
Yeah.
So, and you got to have a time frame. You got to have a goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, tracking where you are
Mm-hmm.
and making your goals, your business plan for your life, a living, working document that
Yeah.
you can pull out not get to the end of 2022 and say, well, what was my goals this year?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
But
What
it's
did I write
something,
down last year? People do that.
yeah, all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and don't go back and do it. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's our little pep talk for the Real
Yeah.
Money Coach family tonight. So next week we'll be back on Tuesday, and we'll be back having a guest. We wanted to just kind of have this one kind of transition
Yes.
show, and hopefully you guys have benefited from it. And I'll just say this before we sign off here a few minutes early. If anyone has any questions for Michelle or myself, you want to put them in the chat box, feel free to do that before we have another 10 minutes. Otherwise, we're not going to hold you any longer than we need to. So if you have any, I see Dr. Benita Harris says, congratulations. I think that's intended for Antonio,
Oh.
who's tying the knot.
Tie the knot.
Tying the knot. So
Mm-hmm.
can you believe these kids are already at that age? So Antonio is how old? Not to put my cousin on blast, but how old is that?
27.
He's 27.
Mm-hmm.
And how old were you when you and Tony got married?
23.
23. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, we think about it, it's like, wow, they're so young, but they're actually older than
we were. Yeah.
So
exactly.
if let's see, y'all was 23, must have been what?
Oh,
19.
22.
I was 22. Yeah, I was 22 when Lisa and I got married. But so yeah, just just life gets to that point where you see your kids grow up, mature.
So now that investment that we made in him, is starting to bear fruit. Mm-hmm. He graduated from college. He started his own business. Mama ain't got to worry. What? You off the payroll? Listen, we got to get this other one.
Listen, the government says at age 26 you can't be on my insurance anymore. And I take that as a hint.
Yeah.
You might take that as a hint. Now, you got an extra 8 years than what a lot of people get, but
because I didn't get that long.
You didn't get that long?
Oh no. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I was on my own.
Yeah.
Early.
Yeah.
Early. And then not that we didn't have support and help when we needed it, but because Lord knows we have. I mean,
right.
And we go through that where life, sometimes you need help, and there's nothing wrong with asking and getting help, but it gets to the point where it's time for you to stand up on your own 2 feet when you can. Right.
Yeah.
And so and when you see that, we can be proud of it. And I think about we got a couple college graduates.
I know.
And, we got they're in getting master's degrees. TJ's getting married this summer.
I know.
And so both our Tonys are getting married, and so just it's a great time. And I'm just, glory be to God.
Yeah.
Because when we look at the world around us, and I stopped watching the news so much, right? Because if you look at the news, I mean, it can depression. I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he's like, he wasn't sleeping well at night. He said he just didn't sleep good. And then he realized that he watched the 11 o'clock news every night, before he went to bed, or 10 o'clock news or whatever it was. And then he didn't sleep well. And he stopped watching the news before he went to bed, and now he sleeps well.
He sleeps well.
He sleeps well. And so those types of things. And there's a lot of stuff going on. Matter of fact, Kamala Harris is going to be in Charlotte on Thursday.
What?
Yeah. So she's going to be in town on Thursday.
Nice.
I would love to tell you guys, I had the inside track to find that out, but I read it.
Oh.
So she's going to be in town. And you heard about the guy, Mr. Strickland, in where was he? Missouri? He was in Missouri. Spent 43 years.
Oh, yes.
43 years in prison for a crime he did not commit.
He did not commit. Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing about it is because they did not use DNA to exonerate him, he gets no money from the state.
What?
The only way the state will repay someone for a crime they didn't commit if it's tied to DNA. And so he spent 43 years in prison for a crime he did not commit, and he gets nothing from the state.
Wow.
So they did do a GoFundMe,
Mm-hmm.
and they've raised over $1.5 million for him.
Oh, nice.
GoFundMe. So I was like, that's a good use of a GoFundMe.
That's a good use of a
That's
GoFundMe.
a good use of a GoFundMe.
Yes.
Now, listen, it ain't a good use if you ain't got life insurance. I'll get you some life insurance. Right? Get you some coverage if you can get some coverage. But yeah, that was an amazing story, you know. And I saw that the other day. So I talked a little bit about that on the radio show coming up. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I talk about is just make sure you have, because I remember this happened. I haven't heard so much of it down here, but when I was in Michigan, every year there'd be a fire during Christmas,
yeah,
where it's a Christmas tree that catches on fire, and people's apartment would burn. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have the renter's insurance. They got gifts that got burned up.
Yeah,
and all these type of things. So make sure that you have your insurance, especially renters. You need it too. Homeowners usually, you know, the mortgage company's going to make you get it if you don't have it. But you know, if you're a renter, make sure you have that coverage, because we don't want those stories anymore. So.
Yeah.
All right.
No questions. Okay.
It's been about an hour. We appreciate everybody tuning in on our new day and time. Email us, go to social media, email at info@therealmoneycoach. Let us know what you think about Tuesday. You know, so right now what we're having is we have the Facebook Live on Tuesday, iHeartRadio show on Friday at 5 p.m. We just kind of broke them up just so that they're not back to back. But if you like this format, let us know. If you'd rather have Thursday, let us know. Email us and we'll take it into consideration. But we're going to be the CEO on it and let you know what we're going to do.
What the decision is, right?
Right. What the decision is. So, but we do appreciate everybody tuning in, and have a great week. And we'll see you all Friday at 5 p.m. on the iHeartRadio show.
All right.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Be blessed.
Night.